sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
So, building the observatory, very involved. Sorting the telescope out, another step up. When did the society start feeling like a proper society, or when was it functioning as a society where you was having speakers, for example? Because Graham, you was the secretary, I believe.
I was indeed. I was banned from the workshop because my DIY skills, they didn't work. So I did the admin, membership and stuff like that. And I worked at the QMC on the computers there, and just over the road, of course, the university there. And I came roughly to around the millennium. Besides doing the admin and lecture program up here, we decided to do an astronomy night class. I got in touch with a chap in the astronomy place over the road there, and he got me an account on the uni system and said, well, look, we had a Meade telescope on top of the physics building roof. Because really, where the university is, it's pretty well lit, and of course, light and astronomy don't really go together very well. So I said, hey, well, it'd be useful if you could run a night class for us, and also allows access and use of your 24-inch telescope way out there over at Sutton Ashfield. And that came to happen. So roughly between around the millennium or to even late 1990s, we ran evening class in conjunction with them up until about 2006. They benefited from our facilities, and we benefited from the kudos by being associated with the university. It was an ideal cooperation.
Well, we started night school in '93. What happened was, as soon as we got the roof on this place, we started having a committee meetings here. But at the time, for society meetings, we were using Sutton Centre, which was the comprehensive school.
What was the membership numbers like at that time?
Oh, probably 20, 25.
I don't know, I can't remember.
Wasn't an awful lot. Now, the problem we had with having the society meetings at Sutton Centre was every week when we got there, you had to find somebody, say, right, what room are we in? Is our society?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to. So they had to go running off to find somebody to come back. Oh, you're in room so and so. Where's that? Oh, up those stairs. And so you got a visiting speaker coming. You got to meet him. And the following month, for the next meeting, when we went, same again in a different room this time, and it was like that all the time. So Malcolm says, look, let's get a finger out, get this room habitable, and so we can have our meetings here, which is what we did. But as far as visiting speakers concerned, we certainly had them in those days before we moved here, because we had. And I know for a fact that when we were at Sutton Centre, we had Paul Money for one. Pete Hamilton was another one from Lincoln. And because Paul Money, he spends more time here than a lot of our members.
In fact, he visited this week.
Yeah. But no, there was a lot of niggly things like that, as it were, that you tend to forget about. But it was all part of the development of the society to bring us to where we are today. I mean, at one stage early on, we came very close to actually closing the society I called an extra special general meeting, and I said to the members, look, what do you pay your money for? Oh, well, for a monthly meeting and a speaker. I said, no, you don't. There's a telescope upstairs. Oh, that's for the committee. No, it's not. You pay your subscription, that telescope, you are a co-owner of that telescope. And so out of this lot, I had to start encouraging people, and I gave lessons on using the telescope.
It's easily done though, isn't it?
Of
Members
course.
can get complacent
Yeah.
and not use the facilities.
That's
I
right.
think the blueprint you guys got was absolutely perfect. It works.
It did, that's right.
Well,
The
you
only
know-
thing, as I used to find, if you got a new member come through the door, he's shy. He don't like to interfere. And so he won't, he don't push himself forward to use the telescope. He might want to, but I think he kind of sometimes thinks he's interfering because we all knew what we were doing and he didn't. So, I mean, I suppose we should have had a bit more about us to encourage him.
It's easy looking back, isn't it? Thinking, oh, perhaps should have done this.
That's right, yeah, it is, that's true.
It's, I mean, you just got to realise what you guys did building this place, and end of the day, you want a little bit of enjoyment.
Yeah.
But the general ground rules have been perfect because here we are, 100 plus members, and with the trend increasing.
Well, I mean, right at the beginning, I've said this many times before, so when we acquired this land, we hadn't had it very long before Gordon, myself and a couple of others decided we'd go and have a look inside the reservoir.
We did,
And
that's
one of the
right.
first things that was said when we got in there, Gordon said, just right place for a planetarium. And then talking said, yeah, perhaps one day as well we might get into radio astronomy. Look where we are now.
Look where we are now, that's
Planetarium's on
right.
its way.
Radio astronomy is brilliant. It's getting more and
Sparky's
more.
done an
Yeah,
excellent
well, yeah.
job with radio
Absolutely.
astronomy.
Yes.
I mean, I come up here and think,
Now we're getting some proper optics in the telescope.
and I think to myself, I set it all going with other people's help. And you know what you've got today? I'm proud of you, all of you.
Well, when it's
It's
time for me to
fantastic.
go, I shall go happy now
It is.
because
It's lovely.
all the things have been fulfilled.
Well, what I find is when we get new members, when they start hearing the stories of how we came about, it seems to inspire people
Yeah, I
I
hope
want
it
to-
does.
to want to try.
That's what worries me about that, Rob, next door. If they don't keep that program I did recently on the history of that, if we don't keep that going in say 50 years' time, somebody's going to say, well, what did this used to be? Someone's going to say, oh, it was a nuclear shelter or something like that, because nothing's been recorded, documented or whatever.
It is, and it's important to remember the past and how all this came about.
Yeah, that's right,
It's
yeah.
absolutely something to
Well,
be.
that's why I wrote that book, because I was in here one night when we got an opening event, talking to a guy, and he started telling me all about the place. Oh, I knew when it was started, and who started it, and he's going on telling me. And so I let him go on. So I said, look, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. So I then shown him the inaugural photograph. I said, there you are, that's the inaugural meeting. So there's me in the corner. Says, where's the guy you talking about? Oh, he took the photograph. Says, no, the photograph was taken by the Chad. So, and then one or two other little things, and I thought, right, it's time this was all documented.
When did you all become founding members, honorary member?
Oh,
When was that bestowed upon you? I've no idea.
I can't remember when
Stop
when
paying
the court or the committee at the time decided they'd make us founder members because of all the work we'd done. I just know I'm a founder member and I'm an honorary member, and I can't remember how it all come about, to be honest.
It's the way you walk.
Well, we found the members because we started the society.
Well, that's right, yeah, but I don't know who instigated this honorary member.
I think it was, what's his name, Michael
Michael Knowles.
Michael Knowles, yes.
Yeah. I think it was. He was on the committee at the time, and I think I remember him speaking to me, or taking me to one side once upon a time, and he suggested this, and he says, "I'm going to put it to the committee," and I think that's probably where it come from. I think you'll probably find that it was Michael Knowles who put it to the committee.
I can't remember.
It's a good, brilliant honour.
It is, I'm quite proud, really, you know.
So, you know what's happening with the Science Discovery Centre and Planetarium. How do you feel about it? How would you like it to move forward? What ideas would you like to see?
Well, to be honest, it's difficult to think of ideas that we'd like to see. But you know, when somebody comes along and starts developing something, and then their ideas, I take my hat off to them. I just think, good on you, Duck. You know, you're keeping the observatory and everything we started off alive.
Well, I think that comes about because people are in awe of the founding members of what you did. And
we didn't think though. We just used to come up here every Sunday. That one thing, like, you know, it wasn't something we did.
Ourselves, you know, it was.
My wife used to say to people, "Oh, I'm an observatory widow," because I spent more time up here than I did at home.
Well, I've said this before. It's in the book that we used to come up here generally on Sundays, and Sunday lunch for most of us was nearer midnight than midday.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that's what happens. People just want to, you know, are inspired and try and do something and put something into the pot, you know, to carry your legacy on.
That's what happened to me.
It's nice
It is,
to sit back and see people enjoying.
It is, that's right, dead right it is. I mean, I look round and I watch people come up here and they all sit chatting and I'm thinking, good on you, Duck, like, it's absolutely brilliant.
Refers to this place as my dad's observatory.
Well, it is.
I joined in mid-2020, and I'm one of those people who heard the story and thought, oh, what can I do to help them move on? I know there's a lot of new members that have come the last 2 years who feel exactly the same, who are down here on the weeknights clearing out the reservoir and doing bits and bobs jobs so that money can be saved and they can get involved and do it hands-on.
The thing is, there's something I did think about, and this is down to this man.
The quiet one. Okay.
Yeah, the quiet one. And I don't know where they are now, but Graham kept a written record of every committee meeting with all the minutes, with all the things we did.
I think you'll find.
And the last time I heard, they were under stairs, right at back.
They still are, Gordon.
Pardon?
As far as
The Red Book.
What's it? They were quite a stack of them. They go back years.
Yeah, in the days when I used to use a typewriter, yes, hard copy, foolscap sheets.
Then
There
we got
should
the
be in
radium,
yearly
didn't we?
folders in a box, hopefully stored under the stairs. Now,
You go under the stairs right to the first step.
Yeah.
I believe that they have been found.
Pardon?
I believe they've been found.
Have they?
We'll have a look after we're done.
Oh yeah, because they're fantastic to read them. See what?
yeah.
Because you'll see all the
It'll
discussions
probably
and
give you
everything.
the actual date of the formation of the society.
Yeah.
All I can remember is that it was in February, early February, 1970. But I
Winter
can't
time.
remember what the actual date was.
No, neither
I've got
no.
it in my mind. It was the 12th, but I wouldn't swear.
No.
I mean, Bill Henshaw did secretary job for about 18 months, didn't
Who?
he? Bill Henshaw.
Did he? He did. Yeah, that's right. Yes, he did. That's right. 'Cause
And then I got coerced into the job. And as I say, you know, tap away on the typewriter. And then along came the BBCB. We print stuff out. But just very recently, Scott asked for a copy of minutes. I have them on my machine on the PC going back to the early 1990s. So I sent him literally files and copy of those.
I've I would like to ask you a question from something I read in David's book. I believe it was your job to book guests and speakers early on. These days, I think you can just go online and find out when someone's free, when they're in the area, and email them and book them. How did you do it when you started out?
Well, obviously the first port of call were other
Nearly.
astro societies, but then I got into a routine of considering travelling distance, so I approached various university departments, Derby, Sheffield, Crikey, and remember the first lecture I went to at the Nottingham Astro Society was Dr. Cox from Sheffield University talking about Kepler's laws. Well, obviously I invited him here, and that's what I did. Through the years I seconded folks in the astronomy and physics departments to come and give us a tour.
Except Patrick Moore. That
Yeah.
Patrick Graham wrote a letter to Patrick Moore.
Oh yeah,
inviting him to give
to
a tour.
Cambridge.
Well, at the time, Graham had got more or less a standard format letter, so it was just a case of filling various things in. Patrick Moore didn't like that, and he really wrote. It was almost a Bible on the way he didn't like it and this, that, and the other, and as a result, no, I'm not coming. I'm not coming to your society.
Expected us to beg, didn't you?
Still got that correspondence?
Oh, crikey. Look in the...
Do you have a guest speaker you booked that you were particularly proud of or particularly enjoyed over the years, who didn't say no?
Well, I'll have to remind myself of who we had. I mean, in the early days, regular attenders were obviously Paul Money, and who else did we have? Ken Stevens. He was a radio astronomy.
He were all right, Ken was. He was a character, but
Yeah,
yes.
His house was an education. Yeah, you came round the corner and you couldn't believe it. The walls of his house were covered with, well,
Plastic sheeting.
yeah, to heat the house.
Yeah, he covered his wall, the whole end of his gable house, plastic sheeting, about 9 inches away from the wall. And then he put sloping panels that shone towards the sun. And then he left a gap at one end. And the heat used to warm the panel up and then travel along up to the next one, along the next panel, then up to the next one. By the time it got to the top, it went through a hole in his end of his gable, and he had a motor pumping it down. In his house must have been 100 degrees in the middle of winter. I'd never. And the only thing I found funny was the fact that on every door, it got door closers. Don't leave doors open. All doors went shut. But yeah, he was a right character. In fact, when you went down the street, he'd got a dish in his garden, a dish that he did radio photography with, didn't he? He used to take pictures of galaxies with it. And it must have been 20 odd feet in masses.
It stood out.
Yeah, it were great.
You definitely had some characters come in here.
Oh, God, yes. Well, we've had some good people, some lovely people.
Do any of you have a, from 1970 to now, do you have any singular moments or any particular period of time that stands out either, is it just because it's the most memorable?
Absolutely. Hail Bop. It was a very bright comet that came from... The funny thing was, at the time... When it sort of came from nowhere. It was before it got to the snow line. It was exceptionally bright. When it got here, it was hanging in this part of the sky over here, and just at the time, just before this happened, there was on Blue Peter. There was they got a new presenter, Richard Bacon, who came from Mansfield. So I thought, this might be an opportunity. So I got in touch with Radio Nottingham. I said, can you give me the number for Blue Peter? Yeah, no problem. Give me this number. So I rang this number. Somebody answered the phone. So I said, I told them who I was, in the society, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you've got Richard Bacon, who's from Mansfield. I said, and we've got this comet. I said, would you mind sort of saying on your programme, you know, that we're going to be open to the public? Well, they put it on Blue Peter, and they showed a picture of Palomar for the observatory. They put it on Blue Peter twice. In between the two programmes, I was at an audio exhibition at the NEC, and unbeknown to me, in the next studio was the, you remember, what was the programme called, science programme that used to be on?
Tomorrow's World.
Tomorrow's World, that's right, yeah. And they actually, I was in this studio next door, Tomorrow's World, and they put it on there as well. Well, the idea was we were going to open every night for a fortnight. And because of this, we had to open every night for a month. It turned a hobby into a full-time job. Two ladies down in Kent saw it on the TV and jumped in the car and drove all the way up here. We got people queuing from the doorway all the way up the road. We had the police come, wanted to know what's going on. I says, arrest that for loitering. I said, that's causing the problem. And at the time, we'd only got the 24-inch. Well, the money we made out of it, it put us in a position where we could get a couple of portable telescopes. But yeah, if ever another bright comet comes around, be prepared. I can warn you now.
I can remember one lady came up. I'm upstairs, and she's come to look at Hale Bob, and I got her up the steps. And she had to climb the steps that what you've got now, and I got her up there at an eyepiece, and I says, right, Nat, so that you know what it is, you need to focus it. I says, and these are the buttons you press. I says, so you get it so that you can see it. So she put her eye to the eyepiece. She's an oldish lady, put her eye to the eyepiece, and she was pressing it, and she was pressing it. And I said, have you got it? Oh, yes. Oh, it's fantastic. I says, you quite pleased? Oh, I've never seen anything like that. So eventually she come away from the eyepiece and I helped her down the steps. So I climbed back up again to have a look what she's looking at. And it was so far out of focus, she was looking at the secondary flat. I didn't tell her, I just left her.
As long as she was happy.
Send them away happy.
Yeah, that's dead right.
That was the first time I came to the Obs for Hale Bob.
Was it?
It was literally queuing right the way around the Obs.
Mm.
It was cloudy. We got the moon.
Oh, and a number of people who come, one lady come in and she says to me one day, well, I have thoroughly enjoyed the tour of the observatory. So I said, good, so I'm glad you have. She says, one disappointing thing, can you now take me to the telescope and show me a star? So I says, no. Why? I says, because it's cloudy, it's raining. Oh, she's can't you see through clouds? No.
We still get that today.
Do you? Yeah, I
The
bet you
magic
do.
telescope is expected
Yeah, I
to be rolled
bet you
out.
do.
See everything.
Yeah. Any other memorable moments particularly stand out to you?
I've always enjoyed every time I've come up here. There's not one particular moment.
SL9 into Jupiter.
Oh yeah.
At the time, we were out here with Angus's 4-inch refractor because it was summertime. It was the day after my birthday, actually, 16th of July. Typical summertime, the big telescope was stood down for maintenance, blah, 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 blah. But we had internet link from Hubble onto the computer, and after the thing had fragmented, the first piece that hit Jupiter was low down. We thought, it's not going to be very long before it's turned round and it's facing us. We went out on to Angus's refractor, And when Jupiter turned, we saw that first huge,
Crater.
I
wasn't
mean huge black
Black
mark.
spot.
And then that turned and moved across, then followed by another big black mark. And
How many fragments were there?
21.
21.
Yeah, they call it a string of pearls. The thing, because it had gradually got drawn into Jupiter, and Jupiter's gravitational pull had just wrenched it apart. But as I say, through Hubble, we saw the first bit through Hubble. That was on the backside of Jupiter, but it quickly turned because it spins in less than 10 hours. Went out and looked, and then it came. It was quite low down, but there was one. Then it went across to another one.
Mind blowing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good job it wasn't us.
Yeah, yeah.
Good job that big vacuum cleaner was out there
Yeah.
looking after us.
No, I can say, I can hold my hands up and say that I've seen all the planets, including Pluto, 3 of the biggest minor planets, asteroids, 86 when we passed through the plane of Saturn's rings, seeing the rings edge on. That was something else that was stunning.
Highest comet.
As much as I criticise the optics in the telescope, I have seen some excellent things through it.
There is better to come once we get the new optics in there
Yeah.
on that. You've got to come and cut the ribbons.
I've already told Chris Dakin, when the new optics are in, I want to be there for first light.
Yeah.
Can I ask what each of your favourite target is to point the telescope at?
My favourite target.
Yeah, just in general.
So I'd say there's so many wondrous things out there.
Depends on time of year, doesn't it, when
Does
it's all
depend,
done, really.
Yeah,
I mean, probably, I think it's fair to say that the most observed constellation's got to be Orion. And then, of course,
Let's hope they put the mirrors in October time and November we'll be able to see Orion.
yeah, you know, so,
Yeah.
no, they're dependent on seeing conditions. I can remember some years ago I read or I was told the best time to use a telescope is shortly after you've had a rain shower, because the rain clears all the dirt and
Does
debris
off the
out of
atmosphere.
the atmosphere. And I remember one night looking at the Ring Nebula just after a rain shower, and the central star stood out like a sore thumb. Most of the time you look at the Ring Nebula, you don't see any central star. But on this particular night,
You got it.
it does. It depends on, obviously, the state of the optics, how much dirt's on the optic, general seeing conditions, and so on and so forth.
Well, I'll say transformation of the your OBS, is continuing because we've got an 18-inch Newtonian. That'll be
Yes,
coming back up here
yes.
sometime in the future with a roll-off shed roof,
Yep.
and its plans are already being kicked about and discussed on how that can be made to happen.
Yeah, yes, well, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
It is.
I mean, it makes a facility, I think, that any astronomer in country would be proud to be a member of.
Absolutely.
I'm sure it will.
I think it goes back to people being so inspired by you guys, they just want to keep adding to something that's wonderful, and to make it as just as good as possible. And it will be a go-to place as soon as we get the Science Discovery Centre.
Well, let's
and
just make
planetarium.
it clear at this point that we didn't set out to make this where everybody in the country would think it would be fantastic. We just set out to build something for
us.
use.
That's right.
didn't
For
we?
our own benefit.
You know, I should be real proud if you turn around and they put a programme on television and going to show us something and say, and we are going up to Sherwood Observatory. Now, that would be the crowning glory.
Absolutely. Well, we're trying to get people who are still in work volunteering and doing talks as much as possible, so it can go on the CVs for when you
Yes.
apply for
Yes.
other jobs, because it does look good. And Sherwood Observatory is going to get a lot of publicity, national publicity, an international publicity when we start doing the planetarium.
Yeah, but that's right.
That will be a huge thing to have on anybody's CV.
We did once have an opportunity in, when was it? It was in the back end of the 1990s. There was a partial solar eclipse, and BBC Nottingham came with the cameras because he dropped the IP. Can you remember?
Yeah.
And I'd taken my video camera to work with because I worked at Ball at the time, and I'd got a piece of welding glass, which was about that sort of size, and I'd put it across the end of the camcorder, and held it in place with blue tack, and I got some quite good images of it. So anyway, I rung in and said, "What's going on?" And they'd got these problems. So I said, "Well, I've just captured some good images on there." So BBC Nottingham called around at Bull where I worked, and took my tape and showed it on television.
There you go.
There's always a way.
No, yeah, there are. I mean, we've had things we've laughed at when we first started the society or advertised it. The Chad came to see me, and he wanted to know all about what the plans were. So we sat down, as the reporters do, with his notepad, and we chatted for 2 hours, asking questions and saying things and so on and so forth. And I am to mention to him that at the time, NASA were due to launch one of the Mariner probe to Mercury. So because Mercury we know nothing about, and the idea is that the Mariner probe is going to go to Mercury, go in orbit, take pictures, make some maps of Mercury. When he went back and wrote the article in the paper, I really got lambasted by this lot. Because the paper had said that we were going to build this telescope, we were going to make maps of Mercury. But there are things like that where we can all say, "Yeah, that's your fault." I mean, there's another thing as well.
That's Sherwood Observatory. They're ambitious down there.
When we put the water
So where are these
pipe in
maps?
from the top to the bottom, it was about that much short. Can you remember?
Yeah, I can.
There's lots of little things like that when you think back on it, it's so hilarious. That's all part and parcel of the history of the place.
I know.
So where are these maps?
Are the maps of Mercury under the stairs?
Yeah.
I don't really know what's under the stairs, to be honest, Nat.
So what did you say did be moved?
And all I said was that the council minutes have been found. That's all I said. So I believe.
Well, all stuff like that is vital for the history of this
It is,
place.
that's right, yes.
It is. It is. It should. It's vital. It's not lost, and it's all archived.
That's right.
Because it is literally the history of the place.
Yeah.
On it, the early days. And if that
The day is going to come. You don't realise it. The day is going to come, and they're going to make a film.
Who is?
And who's going to play you all?
The BBC?
No. Hollywood.
Yeah,
you're going for big time. We're going for it, Hollywood.
Tom Cruise will be Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kojak will be me.
Good Lord.
No, you never know.
You never
It's got
know.
Tom
Never
Hanks'
know.
name all over it, I think. Tom Hanks.
There was once when we thought we'd found a comet, but we realised we'd got some issues with the telescope, and we thought we daren't stick a neck out in case we get laughed at. But I can't remember it. We'd seen this object, a faint fuzzy object, and we'd looked at such as Norton's Star Atlas and things like that, and this particular object didn't show up, so we thought, And as I say, we knew we'd got a few minor issues with the optics in the telescope, so we decided it might be better if we say nothing about it, just in case.
Just think it.
No, we put this lot together. We enjoyed building it, and we're still doing things now.
Well, it's just great to see you all back up and enjoying the obs on it, and seeing all the new members, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And just carrying on and enjoying what you created.
It's only now when we get to our age and we come folks say, who's that over there? What are them old folks doing here?
It certainly kept us off the streets, and I suppose one has to recognise how times have changed considerably, really. You know.
I'm sat in office one night. This little girl came in. No idea who she is. She come in and she looked at me, stood in the door and looked at me. So she says, "Are you Gordon Jones?" So I says, "Yes, Duck." "Wow!" And run off. So I hadn't a clue what I were
She's
about.
heard about the Hollywood film they're making, I
Yes,
think.
probably.
So
It's what?
she's heard about the Hollywood film, probably.
Yeah.
She's starstruck.
I don't know what she or where she got it from, but I thought, oh well, somebody's been saying something.
Well, it's just evolved so much, and to me, it seems to be picking up a pace, because now we were going to Sutton-on-Trent over this weekend, taking the scopes, the marquees, and branded clothing, what we'll be pushing out there.
All right.
Leaflets with Just Giving page and stuff. But it's just getting bigger and bigger, it seems,
Yeah.
as we're moving along.
There's
Well,
almost one thing that'll never go away. We had this problem, not exactly from day one, but very early on, and you're still having it now. Getting volunteers. That's always been an issue, hasn't it?
Does
But there again, you know, when people come and join, you can't say, well, look, you can only join if you're prepared to volunteer for things. You know, you can't impose that on people.
No, but I had a man came to me yesterday and he says, "I've bought that cap that you signed." I said, "Oh, have you?" I had no idea who he was.
Oh, I say Steve Booth won it.
Did he?
Yeah, raised £25 for that,
Oh, did
which
you?
has gone to the Planetarium Science Discovery Fund donations.
Good.
There.
Oh, well, that's as long as it's done
Well
some good.
chuffed.
Yeah, that's all
Absolutely
right.
well chuffed about getting the cap what you signed. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, they asked me. I said, "I don't mind. I'll sign anything."
Well, it's good because we've got 100 more of them in the bank.
Yeah,
So before you go,
yeah.
well, that's where it's led to, isn't it? Because the people see the telescope upstairs in the dome, and it is always a wow moment when all the visits we do, and we take people up there for the first time, even if they can't see through it if it's cloudy.
We had a group of astronomers from, were it Barnsley?
What's that again, Gordon?
A group of astronomers came down to visit us. I think they were from Barnsley or that area, and they all trooped upstairs. And one of the members who was leading the group got to the top and he stood there and he went, "Wow." And I thought, that's good if he's impressed with it and he's in a society.
Right, it's from Lancashire as well. Good God.
And that's before they've had a look through it
Yeah.
and that. So that's just you just got everything.
No,
right.
it's a funny thing because in the past I've, on a number of occasions when I've been up in the observatory when we've had visitors come up and they see the size of the telescope, and a lot of people have said, "Oh, how much magnification can you get out of that?" Because it's a big telescope. Says magnification is not important. As the reason it's a big telescope, or they said, "Well, if magnification is not important, why have you got a big telescope?" It's a big telescope because it can gather faint light. That's what telescopes are about, you know, not magnification.
True.
I think the highest magnification we ever tried was probably around about 500. It's absolutely useless. You know, everything's shimmering and that. We did once try, can you remember this? We did once try when the dome was white on the inside, reflecting the sun onto the dome. You know, the eyepiece holder got red hot.
Yeah.
Not one
So
of
we
the
said,
best ideas.
never
No.
again. So unfortunately, that the 24-inch can never ever be used for solar work.
Okay.
Any more questions?
I think
Jim?
we've got all the information I could ever think of.
I hope we've been some good for you.
You have.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it has been a pleasure to get the three of you here tonight to give up your time, which you've given up a lot of time over
Yeah.
the years on it. And I think when you look back and see what you've done, what you've created, and how it's moving forward, you have to ask yourself, would this ever get done again? Would just an advert, a random advert, get put in a paper and just be picked up?
Well, let's put it this way. If
I
he
don't
put
think
the
it would,
advert
Rob,
in the
because
paper,
Nowadays, I mean, there's a telescope shop on the corner of every hour street, wherever you go. When we started this place, there was nothing.
no, they won't.
Probably the only place in this country that had telescopes, and that was Broadhurst and Clarkson at London.
Everything's just a click away nowadays.
That's right.
Yeah,
it
you've
is.
got it.
Just being the secretary for speakers, for example, all the groundwork you had to do to get a speaker.
I mean, the irony is, when you go back the last 2 or 3 centuries, folks have been looking through telescopes and gathering information, observing variable stars and this, that and the other. And now you come down to the present day, the length of time and the quantity of objects they examined, and probably in fairly uncomfortable conditions. Okay, you might have had darker skies, but boy, sometimes it could have been really cold. And now we have satellites and probes which can probably amass the same amount of information and probably 2 or 3 times that in a very short period of time. So, okay, well done for those folks during the past, but now, as I keep saying, things have changed considerably.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, for such as the three of us, I mean, from day one, we've seen everything grow slowly and slowly and build up to what it is. So it's just...
It must give you a really nice feeling to see, like I say, we keep going back to what you created, to see other people taking it on.
Yeah. All the people
I'm proud
enjoying
they
it.
do.
And just being so inspired.
Yeah.
They want to sort of try and do the best they possibly can to move it on a little bit more. And I think that's just fantastic.
It is.
To do someone else's turn just to move it along.
That's right.
Move it along.
There's
Next
something
step.
that most of you don't know. Most of the people of this society don't know. You know, in the kitchen, you know where the in the wall where the little door is, which takes you into where the four posts are. You know the concrete at the bottom? There's a time capsule buried in that.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember what was put in the time capsule?
So I can't see. It might have been. What was the box? Was it a biscuit box?
Can't
Biscuit
remember,
tin?
Dave. I can remember put something in, but I can't remember what we put in.
So has it been concreted into the foundations? Is that what you're saying?
Not the foundation, but where the isolated pier is. You know, where the four.
Well, where the 4 popes is, there's some bull chains come from the top plate to carry. You know, it's against the bloody. Stop the big telescope moving, and that came down to the floor, and then we just filled all the bottom section with concrete, towed it down.
Right.
It's in there.
It's in there. Well, we can't really take it out.
No, you can't. No. When somebody
Leave it
decides
alone.
to dismantle this place in 100 years' time, then they'll find it.
Well, we might be able to get some sort of scan of the shape of the box, but that might be about.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, I'm intrigued now. I
Yeah.
am intrigued. I need to know. Right, we're going to have to look at this.
Yeah.
There must be a way.
If I catch anybody in there with a pick and shovel, we're in trouble.
If I catch anybody with a pick and shovel, they're in trouble.
We'll have to drill a tiny little hole. And
Yeah.
yes.
I think inside the box
micro-optics.
you'll find a note that says, "Now put it all back."
Yeah.
Nosy.
Yeah.
Well, told you there was a time capsule in here.
Oh, brilliant.
Right. Well, I would like to thank you all not just for your time tonight, which obviously thank you very much, because
That's all right, as long as you've enjoyed it and we've been some,
but,
pass a bit of information on.
Yeah, but I mean, thanks for the years that you've given to the creation and running of MSAS, because you didn't just build it and leave, you ran it as well. I have no doubt that it's resulted in people's love of the night sky. It's inspired young and old people for decades, and what you've created has brought and continues to bring astronomy to the community, people around here, many people, and every eye that peers into that scope and has a gasp of astonishment or a wow when they walk up there into the dome. It does so because you three and other founders and early members had the vision, tenacity, and drive to do something brilliant. So thank you very much, because it means a lot to a lot of people.
See, it's just been a shame in one way that Malcolm couldn't be up here. He's got Parkinson's disease.
Unreal.
Neil Crofts, he was treasurer for years and years. He's got prostate cancer. And there's other people who's...
Arthur?
Yeah, there's Arthur Clayton, and they say it would have been nice if they could have been up here as well, because they'd all got stories to tell. Fortunately, us three, we seem to be outliving them all.
We managed to get you in the end.
Yeah.
It is. It is. It's sad when you say other people who have had a big contribution.
Yeah, they've done massive out. They have others. But I mean, this David, how old are you? 82, 3?
3.
Who? 83.
Good Lord.
And I'm 86, nearly.
I'm 74. Embarrassing.
So there's 230 years, you see.
Well, I think when you've got a love of astronomy and you're seeing so many wonderful things in the sky, whether it's through your creation, which must give you a really special feeling, or other numerous scopes like the latest edition on that, it does inspire you and it just gives you a great feeling inside of wonderment, and it just invigorates you, I find.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing to have in your life.
Well, it's a legacy. It's as simple as that. We three of the remaining founder members, and we're going to leave a legacy behind. And same as I say, so long as people use it and enjoy it, that's what it's all about.
Well, I think it will, because, like I say, you got the ideas and the blueprint right.
When such as Gordon and myself decided it was time to come off the committee, stand down, we weren't prepared to do that until we'd found what we considered the right people to step into our shoes, as it were. To make sure that it was going to continue the way we wanted it to.
That's right.
There has been a few glitches in between, but the way things are going at the moment, I'm happy.
Me too.
Yeah, it's a good job it's been perpetuated. Yeah, it could have just ended up in dereliction and lost forever.
Well, precisely. It's just getting that... I think there is a good feeling about the observatory. It's just known as the OBS.
That's right.
But I feel people affectionately call it the OBS. And I think that's a great thing for it. It's just, it feels a personal thing to just do when you can call a place the
Well, I
OBS.
mean, there are things that's being done today, like Event Horizon, for instance. Now, in the early days, we did have a
Sky
society
Talk.
magazine. We called it Sky Talk. Can you remember, Graham?
Can you?
Oh, yes.
And we got a rodeo machine as well, hadn't we?
We did that.
But now, Event Horizon, it's a damn good read. It really is. And I think Steve Smith, with his sky charts and that at the end of it, is absolutely phenomenal.
He does do a good article.
It does, that's right, yeah.
And it is. I've compared other societies' magazines, and they're not as good as ours. I've compared them and gone online and read them. No, it's not. Ours it's just evolved into this beautiful magazine. And I think
I look forward to Event Horizon coming every month.
Yeah. I can say as a new member who's only been here a couple of years, so I've got some catching up to do. When you come here, it's very welcoming. you get amazed by the know-how of everyone around here and how much they're willing to help and
Yeah,
teach
that's right.
you.
Yeah, do.
The membership's grown quite a lot in just the 2 years I've been here. I think I'm seeing new people turn up. I'm number 744, and there's definitely
Well, I
numbers after
smile
that
because
now.
Emma says to me, "What's the number of your membership card?" I says, "Number 3." She says, "Honorary, what do I have to do to get a honorary member?" I put 40 years working.
I'm James Bond.
Peter,
Number
007.
7.
it is. It's just a fantastic thing. And it seems to have a life of its own.
Yeah.
And it's just doing such great things. Particularly the thing I like at the moment is the way the schools visits are going.
Yeah.
It's just taking on a life of itself. We have schools coming down here for a whole day, well, 9:30 till 2:30. Always remember the first schools we had, and they sent us letters on it, and they were brilliant to read. There was all unsure, apprehensive, how they was feeling when they was dropped off on the coach. Didn't know what to expect, never been to an observatory before, and there was all a little bit unsure and apprehensive. But they said as soon as they got down here and speaking to people who was here, you could see them grow, and it
We're
was
human.
brilliant.
I can remember a school visit years and years ago, and all the kiddies, they'd all got like made little cards, Christmas card type things, and we got them all pinned up. There was no end of them. And no, they thoroughly enjoyed it.
And it's stuff like that
Yeah.
we're keeping hold of.
Yeah.
It's all part of the history, how the schools are beginning and stuff like that. And it's all relevant stuff. It shouldn't be thrown away. It's all about our history.
That's right.
And it's something we should be really proud of.
Well, like I said, we started with nothing and we've still got most of that left.
I know.
It'll come right on the last course.
It will. It'll come right on last course, and it did.